I am at the Wilanowski Palace in Warsaw for the special occasion, a commemoration of the sacrifice and bravery of the Polish paratroopers who served in the Second World War under General Stanisław Sosabowski. And now to talk about the past, the present and the future of Polish-British cooperation, I am joined by the State Minister of Defence, Lord Vernon Coaker. Lord Coaker, welcome to TVP World.
Thank you very much indeed. It's great to be here in Warsaw.
So let's begin by asking, what's the occasion today?
So we're here marking the bravery and the heroism of the Polish paratroopers, Operation Market Garden. It's been 80 years last year. We were reflecting on the 80th anniversary of that operation, and we thought it was about time that we recognised the heroism. So many Polish paratroopers died, so many others, countless acts of heroism, and we wanted to mark that occasion. So that's why we're here this morning, to the exchange of a banner, the recognition from ourselves and from the Polish government about that contribution. And it's really important. You can see from the numbers of military here, senior officers down to ordinary paratroopers, and so they recognise its importance, and we wanted to recognise its importance as well.
Some of the values that the Polish paratroopers defended in the Second World War with the British troops, like democracy and freedom, are under threat today, just beyond Poland's borders in Ukraine, where Russia continues its brutal aggression. How do you see the future of Polish-British cooperation when it comes to supporting Ukraine today?
The Polish-UK relationship is really very, very strong, and it's been at the forefront with our other allies in standing up to the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine. Poland has been right at the forefront of that. The UK has been right at the forefront of that. We've been cooperating militarily. We've been cooperating together to see how we can support Ukraine to withstand that onslaught from Russia. And I think if the Polish paratroopers, along with our paratroopers from the past, were looking at our military today, we're looking at our governments today, they would be saying, you can honour us by standing up for the values that we fought for. You can honour us by fighting for freedom. You can honour us for fighting for democracy. And that's, as I said in my remarks, and others have said this morning, that's what it's been about. That's why we're recognising that memory, obviously recognising their memory, but letting that inspire us to defend those same values today. And we will, and we are.
Speaking about the war in Ukraine, has this conflict changed anything in your approach to the security of your country?
Well, I think the first thing is that all of Europe is now recognising that we need to come together, and all of us, including Poland, but ourselves as well, are spending more on defence. So it's been a wake-up call to us to recognise that we need to spend more on our defence to defend those freedoms that I've just been talking about. But we can also see in the war in Ukraine, much of our armed forces have been organised to deal with expeditionary warfare like Iraq, like Afghanistan, like counter-terrorism. So we, of course, will need to deal with that in the future, but we're also looking at the threats that we face today, the state-on-state threat. And the particular thing that we've done alongside the spending money is to have an integrated force, to bring our forces together in an integrated way, not just a joint way, but integrated. And technology, drones, all of those sorts of things are particularly important as well, and that technological space is really important. You can see from the war in Ukraine the lessons we need to learn. And one concrete example I often use: Ukraine has no navy, and yet it's completely made the Black Sea Fleet of the Russians completely impotent by the use of drones. And those sorts of lessons we need to learn, because we need to fight the wars of the future whilst honouring the past, not fighting the wars of the past.
Speaking of the Navy, the British Navy is one of the most famous in the world. I want to ask you about the cooperation with Poland when it comes to a new type of threat, the hybrid warfare waged by Russia, for example, in the Baltic Sea. How is the cooperation between the United Kingdom and Poland in that regard going to look like?
Well, the Polish UK relationship develops, and of course, we share intelligence, we share information, and of course, the battle space in the Baltic is now underwater. It's defending the cables, and we're looking at ways in which we can do that. And there's certainly many different types of equipment which are being developed, which can defend those cables and work underwater. So it's a whole new area of warfare, but UK and Poland working together offer the way forward, and we will do.
Can you tell us, will there be any new defense packages signed between Poland and the UK, specifically when it comes to the Navy, for example?
Well, we're looking forward to signing a new defence agreement before the end of the year. That's been negotiated and discussed, and it will contain all sorts of military options. But it's subject to negotiation and subject to agreement. But we're hopeful and expect that by the end of the year there'll be a new agreement signed between our two governments.
What about nuclear deterrence? Is that something that will be included?
Well, the nuclear deterrent, the nuclear deterrent, as you know, is something that the UK has. It shares that with NATO, although I would stress that the use of that remains an independent decision for the United Kingdom. But we've always said the strategic deterrent is there to act as a deterrent at the most strategic level. And we, of course, hope that the fact that there is a deterrent means that it will never be used.
I want to talk about defense spending. Poland is leading by example in NATO percentage-wise, aiming to spend close to 5% of its GDP on defense. The United Kingdom is also raising its defense spending. My question to you is, do you have any advice for Poland? How should we spend our money wisely?
I think, one of the things, look, let's just talk about the UK, and then obviously the UK and Poland discuss these matters together. But one of the things that we've thought is really important in our defence review is to learn the lessons from Ukraine, but also to look to what are the wars of the future going to be like. We've already talked about hybrid warfare. We've already talked about the threat underwater and cables, the protection of trade routes. We've also already talked about drones. We've already talked about all of that. So technology, the integration of force, the new threats that we all face, cyber warfare, all of these things are the new threats that we face. We're taking that on board in our defence review, and no doubt Poland will be looking at how it does that. It does that as well. But alongside that, we understand that unfortunately we're relearning the value of deterrence and the fact that to prevent war, sometimes you have to prepare for it.
What about the presence of the UK troops in Europe? We've seen several soldiers here at the ceremony, but we also know that there are plenty of British troops stationed in Poland and in other countries in the region, like Estonia. And we've heard that there is a possibility of an increase of these numbers. Can you tell me, is that something that we can look forward to?
Well, the UK always keeps the numbers of troops it has and the numbers of soldiers it has in various countries under review, and we respond to requests. We also respond to our view of the threat that we face. Clearly, the Baltics are really important to us. Poland is really important to us, and the defence of the eastern, those who are right on the border with Russia, is clearly very important. And we will always do what we can to support our friends. And of course, we have Typhoon jets in Poland as well, helping defend with Sweden the NATO space there, the air policing mission. So all of those things are important to us, and we will always stand with our friends to ensure that they have the military resources that they need to defend themselves and to deter those who would attack them.
Can we expect more, or is that something that you can't say right now?
Well, it's not something I can say and announce now, but all I can say is that the UK will always work with its friends to ensure that the necessary military resources are there to support our friends, but also to deter anyone who might wish to do them harm.
Let's talk about the Coalition of the Willing. This is the initiative led by the United Kingdom and France to one day potentially put troops on the ground in Ukraine as a safeguarding mission, as a peacekeeping mission. But other countries like Poland decided to support the initiative without committing its own troops, more of a logistical hub. Can you tell me what's the status of the mission now? Because we've heard that the UK and France wanted to send soldiers to Ukraine now to coordinate the potential future mission. Has this already happened, and what's the future of this coalition, especially in the context of the fact that the latest peace negotiations are seemingly going nowhere?
Well, I think the important thing and the important principle is that there are lots of discussions, lots of talks going on about what may or may not happen in the future. But I think the really important point is this: whatever settlement is or isn't made with respect to Ukraine, Ukraine has to be involved in determining what that settlement should be. But then it's important that we have some sort of security guarantee for Ukraine after that peace settlement. And that's what all of these discussions are about. How do you secure the future of Ukraine after any peace settlement? And that's what all of these discussions are about. The exact way that is agreed matters for talks and discussions between all of the various nations. But that's the key principle. What we don't want is a situation where there's some settlement which is agreed and then there's no guarantee of the integrity of Ukraine, which is of particular importance, obviously. You have to guarantee and have some way of that security guarantee being there so that we don't face a situation in a year or 2 years when war breaks out again.
So last but not least, are you optimistic about the future of the conflict? Can Ukraine defend itself?
Well, I think the answer to that question is let's look at what Russia intended at the beginning. What did Russia intend at the beginning? Russia didn't intend to 2.5 years later to still be in a situation where it was fighting. What it believed was it would attack, and Ukraine was supposed to fall within a few days, and a puppet government introduced into Kyiv. That hasn't happened. So in terms of its original objectives, Russia has failed because of the support that many countries like Poland, like the UK, have given to Ukraine, but also the bravery of the Ukraine people. They've resisted that Russian onslaught and defended their freedom, and in doing so have stood up for the rest of us. So what we should look at is what were Russia's original objectives, and in that they failed.
Lord Vernon Coaker, the British State Minister for Defence, was my and your guest today on TVP World. Lord Coaker, thank you so much for speaking with us today. My name is Kazimierz Łysiak and you're watching TVP World.